Time now for another story from the BBC's We Were There collection of interviews with veterans of the Second World War.
I'm going to introduce you to Army driver Joe Cattini, who was there on the morning of D-Day. He turned 100 years old this week. He's been sharing his memories with Breakfast's John Maguire.
Oh, wow. This may well be the first time that a D-Day veteran has received a birthday card from King Charles III, sent to the remarkable Joe Cattini to honour his centenary.
I thought I'd get to perhaps 80, but then I kept on going. When I got to 99, I thought, oh, well, I might make the 100. Well, here I am.
German bombers rained fire and high explosive bombs in their most savage attack on London.
Joe was a rescue worker for the Civil Defence Service in London during the Blitz before joining the army. He then became a colonel's driver and was to take his staff car to Normandy 9 days after the Allied invasion. That was until he was spotted by a sergeant major who was organising transport for D-Day.
Where do you think you're going, Corporal? I said, I'm going back to camp. I don't bring the car over until D-Day 9. He says, well, you can change that for a start. He says, there's a vehicle over there wants a driver. You're a driver, you drive it. And when I realised what it was loaded with, ammunition and petrol, then that really blew my top.
What he witnessed that day on the French coast, especially the fate of so many so young, has stayed with him ever since.
And some of them never saw the full light of day. They either died in the barges when the barge hit the mine, or they died on the beach because they were so sick and disorientated. It was shocking. And they're the people that should be remembered. That is why we have this memorial. And I should never forget them. I pray for them every day, for their souls.
In recent years, he's returned many times to the battlefields of Northern Europe, to Arnhem in the Netherlands and also to Normandy, recently visiting the British Memorial at Wewerethere, where we met him last summer.
In those days it was carnage and death, and now it's so peaceful and calm, and I find it very calming for me.
His family says his 90s have been some of the busiest and best of his very long life. So, any advice?
Taking everything in moderation. When I was in the army, I could drink 5 pints of beer. Now, I'm down to a half.
He'll have ample opportunity to test that theory this week during celebrations looking back on his 100 years. He's also looking forward, appealing for funds for an education centre at the memorial site, teaching future generations what he went through in the hope that the brutal lessons of history will be learned. John Maguire, BBC News.
Many happy returns to Joe as well.
Yeah, so he turned 100, as you saw all the cards there earlier this week. Words of wisdom about all sorts of things, the big things and the little things.
Indeed.
5 pints, what was it? He could have 5 pints when he was younger, just a half a pint now. Yeah.
Whatever works. Do you or someone you know have a story to share about World War II? If you do, this is of course ahead of its 80th anniversary in 2025. The BBC wants to gather as many first-hand accounts from surviving veterans as possible to preserve them for future generations. So if you want to be involved, if you have a story to tell, you can email BBC Breakfast or get in touch via the BBC News website, details on the screen.